So Clarence got me a Clarence, Victor got me a Vector, and I am over Roger. Roger, over. And it's Friday. Yes, that was airplane. Man, what a good day. Let's call it that. I am in a great mood. I see Andrew here popping in and a couple other folks. We'll get to that in just a moment. Been a week. It has been a fun and busy, challenging week. And the last couple days have been mostly filled with successes. So I am kind of hopping and popping and happy and flappy. And maybe I'll fill you in on some of it, maybe not, but all things are good. Anyways, it is Friday. It's, man, we are 2/3 the way through May. January, February, March, April, May. Good Lord, 5 months almost into the year. We're almost halfway through the year if you want to look at it 5 weeks away from now. Goodness gracious. Beg your pardon. The kid's home from school. He's doing whatever kids do on summer break. This is his last summer break. He said, I'm going to take it easy. Wrong. You will work through your summer break and participate in tuition for the following year. We have paid for everything up till now. Nonetheless, he has this really cool summer project that he's doing as part of his senior project, and it requires some 3D printing. So I brought home one of the 3D printers from the office a week or so ago, and we fired it up day after we got it home, and immediately the power supply made 4 hissing sounds. Psst, 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 psst. But it looked like it was still functioning, so we played with it for a little bit, and we couldn't get the heating elements to heat up more than about halfway what they're supposed to. So we abandoned that. I opened up the power supply and discovered 4 bulging capacitors, which is what I expected. So ordered a new power supply that came in a couple days ago. Cool, we installed it. Everything is working great. The 3D printer is working good, but it's an old model. It's very slow, and we can't get that many produced with this old slow thing. So yesterday we did the 3-hour trip somewhere out of town for a Craigslist deal and got a hot new 3D printer that's sitting on the counter right now. I haven't powered it up yet, but we did test it out over at the seller's place, and it's all good and shiny, and it has 2 print heads and a bidet, a weather maker, all kinds of things in there. So we're looking forward to another fun weekend. Lots more other good successes this week. So, hey, what are we doing today? We are here as we are on Friday. Wild hailstorms just started. Okay, back channel. Okay. Andrew is having bad weather in his neck of the weeds. He's over in Philadelphia. So, okay, stay safe, stay inside, my friend. And if you disappear, we understand. It's all good. So we get together once a week, every Friday, 2 o'clock Central Time, shoot the breeze for an hour or so, take questions, whatever. Then we start the second hour roughly with a project. I have a fun and interesting project today. Won't take too awful long. We'll finish up with questions somewhere in there. We've got a contest for a Total Tester Online. Looking at any of the names that are here, I don't see. There are 2 people that I need to hear from who have won in the last couple of weeks. One of them, if I don't hear from today, going to drop that name off the list, and you get to start over from scratch. And that was a person whose YouTube name is Brennan. Total of 4 N's in there. Brennan, if you are watching or listening today, you need to contact me today to claim your prize. The other one is last week's winner on this show, Chris Doherty, how are you? You're not contacting me because I pronounced your name wrong. I've been calling you Doherty and you're Doherty, right? Please contact me today. I need to submit that stuff before end of business today. Thank you very much. So we'll do another contest today. And it's a fun day overall. So let's see who's here, what they're doing. Tulwit, almost as always, first one in around 1:30 my time. 30 minutes before the show. Who wishes us all a good morning? Because when you live in paradise, it's always morning. Let me see. Can I get rid of that thing? It's on my screen in front of my face and bothers me. That. One more thing here. I don't want to shrink it. I find that there's an issue with shrinking it. And now this page I can make go away. And that'll improve my bandwidth and decrease the fuzziness. There we go. All right, now I can get serious about seeing who's here. So where was it? Will Shaw popped in at 20 minutes till showtime, 10 minutes till showtime. It's logs. They're big, they're heavy, they're wood. It's logs. They're better than bad. They're good. Oh, how far down the road are we going to go? Everyone needs some logs. Kudos to those who get the reference. Thank you. I've read it in iambic pentameter to help anybody who didn't get that reference. Mom's D. I know I'm mispronouncing that, but you knew that everybody would mispronounce it when you created MAMSD as your moniker. So Mom's D, hello, my friend. Chris Kent's with us once again. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. It's Pi Day Friday. Andrew Hutz is amongst us for now. Andrew's only going to be with us if he doesn't get destroyed by hail for the first hour. So if you want to talk to Andrew, now's a good time. Siegfried is amongst us. Good afternoon, Siegfried. Siegfried, since Siegfried is here, let us pay homage to him. Andrew, my friend, would you post the link for the UTSD and for the special UTSD? The unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel or server is created most recently by Siegfried. He's the owner and obviously the senior moderator there. See some of the other moderators here amongst us. It's a wonderful place to hang out. We talk about show contents, and then as it's grown over time, there are lots and lots of sub areas of discussion. Most days after an AMA, after Mike's AMA or my AMA, we get together with mics and cameras and have a little more free-form interactive session than we can do here. Invite you to do that. I'll go on for a couple of minutes today. I don't have a lot of time, but a little bit. And there are so many sub forums on there, from Linux to computer tech support. It's all a great thread that happened yesterday. And maybe you would have been able to help. And if you hadn't already or couldn't or wouldn't, you get the idea. Somebody got a job as a tech supporter, and he got assigned his first assignment. A customer site lost internet connection, and he was kind of left to sink or swim. There was nobody there to help him out or from his company. And he was a little bit stymied at the beginning. And so he posted to the UTSD server and said, hey, there's a picture of my server room. Anybody got some direction for me to get started? I got no mentor here. And people did start popping in some information, and he started doing some stuff on his own and came up with this very destroyed looking connector. He never posted at the end that said problem solved or wasn't able to solve it, had to wait. But that's the kind of things that happen there. It's a very friendly group of folks. Over, I think, 370 people last time I did a count on there. So many thanks to Siegfried for setting that up and maintaining it, along with the other moderators here. Tolowitz here. I don't see Andrew DeGoyer here yet, or Jason, but lots of other good folks here. And Andrew has posted the link. If you're not a member of our server, it's not our server, it's Siegfried's. I am just a user, same for everybody else at Total Seminars. That's why it's the unofficial Total Seminars channel. It's not ours. We have nothing to do with it. We don't control it. We just participate in it like everybody else does. At any rate, Andrew posted at 6 minutes past the hour a Discord invitation for you to join up there. Just click on that thing and you will be invited. Also, immediately following that, Andrew posted our special of the week. This week's special, 50% off a bundle that you create. You go to totalsem.com, you pick an area of study from the list that we have posted here at 206 or 06, A+, Net+, Sec+, CYSA+, you can read the rest. And what you do is you make your own bundle. We can't sell these as a bundle because of some contractual issues, but you pick an ebook for your subject of study that you're interested in. You pick a total tester online practice test that matches, right? So maybe they're both A plus, or maybe they're both net plus, whatever the case may be. And you put them in your basket. And when you check out, we have a different code every week. This week's code to get 50% off of those two items, excuse me, is hires, HIRES. Oh man, sorry, my phone is busy today because it's been such a successful and busy week. And anyway, and that will get you 50% off of those two things. Hires. Why hires, you ask? I always tell everybody what my rationale at the end of the week is. So Monday was May 16th, Monday of this week. On May 16th, 1866, Charles E. Hires, HIRES, invented root beer, or at least his version of root beer. And Hires root beer, I grew up in the Midwest. That was the root beer of choice. So when I saw that on my calendar of interesting things that happened on this day in history, there was no question about it. Next week's code is really cool too. I know I missed somebody here. Oh yes, somebody did a like on there. Let's go back up and then we'll do that thing. Catherine Legrand is here. Hi, Dave and everyone, and hi back to you, Kathleen Stevens. The other Kathleen is amongst us. Hello to you, and hi. Will Shaw talking to Andrew. Bad weather could turn into bucks for me tomorrow. Oh yeah, because the best thing in the world besides flying for a living is not flying and getting paid for it. William Jeski's here. He liked the stream. If you would be kind enough to do the same, it doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form, but it does help other people when they're searching for, oh, I don't know, Raspberry Pi and viewing logs. The more hits that we get, or the more likes that we get, the higher up in the hit results and when people do searches we'll get. And that will send them here, and then they will hear about the show and they will learn how to use the command and tools that we're going to talk about to read Raspberry Pi logs today. And they'll say, wow, that was really interesting. I think I'll participate every week and maybe win a free voucher or whatever we're giving. We're not doing vouchers this week. Sorry, no vouchers. We're doing Total Tester Onlines again this week. So like that stream, Zoltan's back. Long time no see, my friend. I am currently installing Ubuntu on my old laptop. How do you go wrong with that? That's what old laptops and old computers are for, right? Will Shaw has this desperate screaming urge to install old versions of Windows on old computers and put Ubuntu on them so that they're useful, so you can actually run an app. You're ever so welcome, Siegfried. Will Shaw talking to Zoltan. And Siegfried doesn't take full credit. Sure, of course, there's a lot of participation. Nonetheless, when the old one went down, you were the first one to raise your hand and said, I've got one pretty much ready to go. I can hit the switch and bring it online, and you did. So thank you. Zoltan wants to run his own Discord bot on it. Yeah. In fact, you can run a Discord bot on Raspberry Pis. Lots of tutorials out there to do it. I thought about doing it for a while as a project, and I didn't. But it is in my list of things that we could do. Charlie Schaefer, hey everybody, on been a while. That's true. Finally, the end of BTO at work. Huzzah! Congrats. All right, that's up for questions, and let's see what's in outlines. Oh yeah, so I didn't start out. This is Friday, Pi Day Friday, or drama. I am Dave Rush. This is a Dave Rush Ask Me Anything drama. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and in-house Pi specialist. I don't think I'm going to call myself a guru, but I'm pretty much better than everybody in the company is right now at playing with them and doing some really funky projects. So having a good time. My primary hat there is senior instructor. I do stand-up instruction, I do video instruction, and when I'm not doing that, I do everything that they ask me to do. And I'm really behind on one of the projects. I thought I'd be done with it this Sunday night. That was the plan. And then the computer that I was using was an old piece of junk, and it gave up the ghost on Monday. So I've had to do repairs to it. It's up and functional. And then the other stuff that accrued this week said no. So I'm going to knock out 5 tonight. I'm going to knock out 10 on the weekend, and that will leave me with 10 to go. And I will finally get this project off my back. No, I won't, because there's a couple that have to be redone, but a couple days. My favorite part of my job, however, is getting together with you every Friday for 2 hours on Friday afternoon to do drama. and whatever project we have in mind. I'm joined in the back channel and 4chan, by my partner in Pi, Andrew Hutz. He's a writer and editor here at Total Seminars. He works the back channel for Mike's stuff and for my stuff. He sometimes works front channel with me. He will again in the future. And he is a moderator. You can tell by his wrench, affectionately known by him as Trollnir, and by the blue name on his text. Lots of credentials in addition to his incredible computer and writing skills. He is a meteorite and dinosaur fossil hunter. The two kind of go hand in hand. You're usually looking for one and you find the other, he explains to me. Hobbies include building real tiny houses from knockoff Lego blocks. I amuse myself when I write these things. In reality, he's a great source of a wide range of information, a wonderful target for your questions as well. By all means, please chat with him in the YouTube chat. So what are we doing here? Well, we're not here anymore because we're all trapped at home because of COVID. Some of us still work at home because that's something the company allows or is discovered is valuable, but we're here because we can. And it's fun. We've got fun things to learn. And the whole point here is to foster learning and studying for CompTIA certifications and certifications that go above and beyond CompTIA. And of course, our bailiwick here is how can we use Raspberry Pis to foster our learning? Sometimes I do a Raspberry Pi project that is directly tied to a specific objective and maybe even a specific question that I've heard about on a CompTIA exam. Sometimes more periphery related, and sometimes we just say, hey, you know, let's do something fun, has nothing to do with CompTIA. Today's project is one of those in-betweens. It is necessary for you to be able to read and interpret certain logs for A+, for Net+, and Sec+. Each of those requires a higher degree of sophistication in reading logs. The logs that they use tend to be Windows oriented, and there is some consistency to the way the logs are identified, and there's a problem with that. So I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but I want to. What you're going to get is a line of text that isn't explained. There's an IP address here and an IP address here and a number here and a number here and maybe some wordage here. And you have to know from which IP address, from which port, to which IP address, to which port, and then what does the message indicate? And maybe you have to read multiple entries of that. It's an important skill in the real world as a troubleshooter and for certain CompTIA exams. Well, we're going to do some log reading today, but we're going to use a utility that converts everything into understandable English. So it's not going to be super valuable for prepping for any of the CompTIA trifecta, but it is very valuable, excuse me, for, I sound like Mike on Wednesday. There we go. I don't have anything. I haven't been over to his house. And when I hear somebody who's had Corona, they're not going to see me face to face for 3 months. I promise you. Anyway, so it's a really valuable and useful skill to be able to access and read those logs, whether you're interpreting them yourself from their native cryptic input to something like the utility we're going to use today that will already convert them into lovely, understandable language. Let me see here. Got an anniversary show coming up, July 29th. Don't know what we're going to do yet. I have ideas and I have not yet posed them to management. I've been so busy. I don't dare go to management until I'm ready to say this project is done. Now I want to put a couple of hours of time into prepping my anniversary show. So I shall. Let's see. Tired of repeating all that stuff. I will remind you that we do AMAs 3 times a week. Mike does one at this same starting time on Monday and again on Wednesday. And then I do it here on Tuesday. What day is this? This is Friday. Did it. We did the Discord invitation. So it's an AMA. That's the whole point of at least the first hour or so of this show. Ask me questions. You can do that most easily with the YouTube chat, but if you're watching this not live on the archive and you still want to communicate with me or Andrew or anybody else at Total Seminars, it's a very easy thing to do. All you got to do is send me an email. Dave, where can I send that email? Funny you should ask. I work at Total Seminars. Our website is totalsem.com. My name is Dave Rush, and therefore I am Dave R at totalsem.com. Andrew, same thing. He's Andrew Hutz, works for Total Seminars. So Andrew H at totalsem.com. Michael Myers works for Total Seminars. Michael M, sure. And if you want to catch me on my personal email, that's fine too, drushtx at Yahoo. There's other contact information on this page. Go back and review it if you need to call us or otherwise contact us. While I get this page up, my web server's up as it has been all weekend or since Friday early this morning. It will be up until Sunday night. It holds all the documents that I use to create my weekly show, my outlines, my PDFs, my pictures, everything that you're looking at up here, and oftentimes much, much more. So access it at pirsquare.zapto.org. Andrew, if I put that in the back channel, please throw that on the YouTube chat. It is not HTTPS. I probably never will get around to turning it back into an HTTPS. I'm busy. And every document for every show that I've ever done with a project is there. So this is the 93rd show that we've done. I think there's probably about 5 that didn't have a project in them. So you can download them all. I know at least one person who's done that. He asked me. And if you're watching this on the archive right now, and it's not the weekend, the server's probably not up, send me an email. Send it to daver at totalsem.com or drushtx at yahoo.com. And I will get that email. You just tell me when you want it to be up so you can do your downloading. And I will bring it up probably an hour or two before then, maybe the whole day, whatever I'm feeling like, and take it down a couple hours after you tell me you planning on being done. Because that's what I do. This was the special for today or for this week. Code was hires. And it's also hires because I hope that there are people out there looking to hire you with your tech skills. What is that? Okay. That's up on the YouTube chat already. This is also that. But again, if you're watching this archive, that's kind of a challenge sometimes to go back and figure out where we posted this and when we posted it. So you could just pause the screen right here. It is case sensitive, and you can connect to the Total Seminars Discord channel. All right, enough of that stuff for now. What else is going on in my notes? Discounts are back. Teacher feature. It's summer now. Teachers are getting ready to teach again next year in a somewhat return to educational normalcy, we hope. Excuse me, hiccups. And we have our head of sales and head of promotions and head of many other departments and hats, Kathy Yale, and she always has the barn doors open to help out teachers who are going to teach these topics. We're going to teach trifecta courses and other technology courses. She has giveaways. She has cheap, inexpensive stuff. She has our normal price stuff. Please contact her, Kathy Y. There's 2 Y's in that, with a K, at totalsem.com. And she will be of grand assistance to you, I promise you. If you got a friend who's a teacher and isn't watching this, pass the word to them, okay? We are looking to help out. We're a profit center, but we live to help students become PC, not just literate, but competent. And Kathy is our arm by which that communication happens. One more thing before I get back into Q&A. Every week I do this little thing that says, what do you need to do today's project? Does it have to be a Raspberry Pi? Can it be some other distro? This week, you do not need a Pi. You don't need to do a fresh install. You need Linux. You got to have a machine running Linux somewhere, and that's it. So it could be in a virtual machine, could be one of the ones you guys are talking about. I dug out my old dead 486 and I'm installing Ubuntu on it. Cool. That's all you need. You can do today's project with that. It's fun. It's useful. It's interesting. You can certainly do it with a Raspberry Pi. I recommend that you do. I'm going to do it on a couple of different Pis so I can show you some differences in distros. I'm not going to go way beyond. It's mostly going to be done on one, but I'm going to show you one thing on another as an example. You get the idea. So any working distro of Linux that you've got up and running or will have up and running, you can do today's stuff on. Servers up, servers up. All right, I'm done with that for now. Let's go and see what's going on over here. Oh my. Okay, well, lots of stuff happened while I was away. Gotta go back and find where I was. Okay, I think I finished up around the time Zoltan said he wants to run his own Discord bot. Charlie Schaefer checked in. TD Washington is here. I'm in a boring Zoom meeting. I'd rather be here at Drama. We can pipe Drama into your Zoom meeting. Do a screen share. That's it. Do a screen share. Share my session with them. And they'll say, you know what? We don't want to do this Zoom meeting anymore. We want to go check out Dave's Drama show. I know that's what I want to do. Charlie Schaefer. No, I'm sorry. I'm not highlighting. We did that. Will Shaw has a question. If someone has the trifecta, do you know off the top of your head if just doing the Sec Plus highest level Cert Master renewal through CompTIA, if that renews all three certs? Doing a renewal through any one of Sec Plus will renew the two lower ones. So it doesn't have to be Cert Master as long as you re-achieve the highest one, you will get that one and any lowers. Why are you giving money to Cert Master? Chris Kent, I had to step away for a moment. Did I miss anything? Yes. The Secret to Life, and I sent everybody who was online, I got their addresses and emails. I'm sending them a shoebox full of 50s. So sorry you missed that. Next time. Zoltan, now the laptop doesn't boot. I must have messed up something. Yep. Well, you know what? Okay, Zoltan, there are two ways that we can help you. You can post what you've done here and what the symptoms are and so forth, and they can try to help you here, but that's not a great way to do this. The best way to do this, Zoltan, is to take that issue over to the unofficial Discord channel, which Andre posted again. Andrew, no, he didn't, but he's about to. The link for the unofficial Discord channel, UTSD. Come on over, bring that problem over there. There are lots and lots and lots of people who have done this, who probably made the same issue and kind of the same issue that you did, and they will help you. My guess is you copied the image to a boot device, a thumb drive or an optical disc, and you didn't make it bootable with something like Rufus. But I don't know what you did. So it's a very raw guess. There we go. Will Shaw is already chipping in. If you haven't already, check your BIOS boot order. Sure, whatever you're trying to boot from, make sure that that's bootable and is installed and detectable. Chris wants you to elaborate more. Hey, we're all simpatico here. Andre de Goyert, another regular and moderator of the UTSD. Welcome, Andrew. Andre, sorry. 223. It's okay. I didn't take attendance yet, so you're not late till that happens. You're going to ask Kathy why, huh? Thank you. God. I'm telling you, man, I don't want you hanging around Tullowit anymore. Zoltan, we'll do that. Okay, very good. Main problem was laptop froze when I hit restart at the end of installation. Okay. Andre, greetings to others. Will Shaw talking to Zoltan. Yep. When in doubt, reboot. Need an upgrade on my son's PC, which means, says Andre, I need an upgrade for my PC and he gets mine. It's so good to be a parent. Thank you, Chris Kent. And Andrew has reposted the Discord invitation. Thank you. At 27 minutes past the hour. Spam that link. Aru. Great. All right. Caught up on questions. Can't do questiones, right? Because Alex isn't here yet. Somebody call Alex. All right, what else is going on here in my notes? Where we've been last week, we installed and toured Android on Raspberry Pi using the Lineage OS distro. If you haven't installed Android on a Raspberry Pi, I hadn't until 2 weeks ago, and what a joy. Today, I yanked that card and I cooked it and put it back in my clean pile part because I wanted that machine for today's project. Wow. Did I experience something? I'll get into that later. So check out last week's episode if you want to install. It's a really, really easy install, 5 minutes. You know me, I stretched it out into a 20-minute presentation, but that's pretty good for me because I could usually stretch it a heck of a lot longer. And or, you know, ignore me. Don't watch the show again. Go back and download my archive document. You'll find it right there in my notes. It's usually under a heading called Today's Project or The Project or something like that. It's in bold text. And just follow those steps. You can read it a heck of a lot quicker than I talk about it. Where are we going today? So as I said, it's an important skill to be able to read logs as a troubleshooter. And we're not, when we say troubleshooting, we're not talking about just my computer's dead. If your computer's dead, you can't read the log on it. However, it may have sent information to an external machine that collects logs. But as a troubleshooter, you might be troubleshooting who logged in, when did they log in, where did they log in from, what did they do while they were logged in, when did this machine lose connectivity, all kinds of things like this. When did this machine last reboot? There's a few ways to find that out. So I'm going to show you how to read important common Linux logs using common logs that are already in there. I'm going to show you what, I'll talk a little bit about logs that aren't in there and how you have to read those. I'm going to give that a little bit of text, but not much. And the tool that we're going to use to read those. So let me give you, I'm calling this a tutorial. This is an article that got me started. Andrew, would you please post the link for today's tutorial? And I will put it up. This is a half article, half tutorial that I looked at and said, you know what, I'm going to do a project on that. I will use a lot of content from this, but I went to a lot of other sources. And so it's not exactly a follow along tutorial. It's just something to get you started. So if you don't want to watch Dave, that'll get you started, but I'm giving you more and better, in my humble opinion. Share screen. There's the tutorial link. So reading Linux logs on a Raspberry Pi or most any other distros, and I'll talk about some different distro issues. So it's over at strongdm.com/blog/view SSH logs. I thought you might want to do something a little more than SSH logs. So I'm going to show you other logs. But the nice thing about viewing SSH logs is it lays the foundation on how to view other logs. So it's a good thing. Okay, stop that share. We'll set that up there. Reading messages, reading this. Okay, did that. I don't have any interesting news of the week other than, you know, we all know that Udemy has frequent sales. What they don't have, maybe in their world, this is consistent and they know, but some days they do sales where the bottom price of something is $10, $9.99. Sometimes it's $12.99. Sometimes it's $14.99. This week is the good week. They're $9.99. So if you're looking for Udemy courses, I don't know when it ends. I usually get a notification that says today's the last day, and I don't recall seeing that. But if you're looking for a Udemy course right now, at their cheapest that they tend to offer them, today's the day. Okay, we've got a contest today. No old unanswered questions. We posted that Discord PDF about 300 times. All right, so I'm caught up in my notes until we get to the giveaway. Let's see what's going on back in Q&A. Andre, okay, finish that. Chris Kent posted and deleted before I got a chance to read it. Oh, then he posted again, something here. Can you elaborate more on what you said last week about your method of giving questions. I remember you saying you would give 50 questions, then another 50, and so on. I am trying to recall what I said. I don't. Oh, okay. Okay, it came to me. So you could apply this a little bit in your world. This is a technique that I use when I'm doing stand-up training to type A personalities. Okay, if I'm going to DEA, FBI, CIA to do a class for them, they don't want to be there. They're there because their boss says, go to Dave's class, go to the Total Seminars class, because you need this certification. And they need that certification for all kinds of reasons. They need practical knowledge that when they go into a place and they want to seize computers, they've got to know how to shut them down safely without wiping out the data. They need to, among other goals, when they take the stand and offer evidence about what they've done with computers by holding certifications, they are carrying a degree of expertise that's recognized by the courts. So these folks, they're already type A, right? These are FBI agents. You should hear the stories that they tell us. Oh my gosh, great stories. I shan't bore you. But I assure you, they're not boring. But they get 2 weeks with me in the form of A+, 1 week in the form of Net Plus, and so forth. And what we do is the last day of the classes is testing. So imagine this, right? You have from Monday through the following Thursday to pass both exams, 220 10-0X or 11-0X, 1101, 1102, or 1001, 1002, and take the test at Friday morning at 8 o'clock right after that. So these folks are killing it with me all day, 9-10 hours. Then they get together. Actually, they tend to catch a meal. They all work out, and then they spend the next couple hours individually or together studying. And then we do it again the next day. And over the weekend, I give them assignments to help them stay ahead of the game. And then they do it again Monday through Thursday. And finally, Friday, they take the test. Well, here's where practice tests come into it. After the first day, I might get through 2 of the 24 chapters, 2.5 of the 24 chapters in the A+ book, or 32 chapters, whatever it is. Then I give them, in addition to all the other stuff they're going to do that night, I want them to answer 50 questions on the practice test that come from the first 2.5 chapters. Simple enough, right? And do them over and over and over until they get them all right. Yeah, I know they stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Then they're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing another workout, getting breakfast, and then getting into Dave's class at 8. The next day, we go through the next 2.5 chapters. We're through chapter 5 now. When they go home that night, their homework assignment is the same 50 questions that they did on Monday night, and 50 more for the second half. Would you help Ben? Aim. Okay. They go through the same 50 questions that they did the night before, and 50 new questions for the material that they just studied over and over and over. Remember, it's going to go faster and faster every time. So now they've seen all the ones from yesterday twice and all the ones from today once. Guess what happens tomorrow? The same first 50, the same second 50, and a new third 50. They have these ingrained by now. They've seen them 3 times over and over and over for 3 days in a row. They've seen these for 2 days in a row, over and over and over. They have them memorized. They are so memorized that they can see the first word of a question, know what the rest of the question is, know what all the wrong answers are, know what the right answer is, and know the explanation. And folks, that coupled with our wonderful books, with our teaching curriculum, and to a small degree, my presentation, and I do a little foot stomping, make sure you know this kind of stuff. 95% of the attempts first time out for both Core 1 and Core 2, they pass. And then for the 5% of misses, if they miss by more than 4 or 5 questions, we send them home, study, and take it again on your own time. But if they miss 1 or 2 questions, I'll sit down with them for an hour, 45 minutes, and we'll look at that report that shows the domains and subdomains that they missed questions in. We review that one-on-one or one-on-two, send them right back in, and they pass. So of all the second attempts, 50% of those pass. So that's 97.5% first and second time pass rates. But practice test questions are a huge part of that, because our practice test questions are written very, very, very carefully to be close enough to not get us in trouble. But it's not impossible that you will see a question on our practice test and see a question on the exam that says, oh my God, that is so similar. I'll bet there's a similar answer to one that I saw on a practice test. Oh, I get it. And you're done. All right, sorry, I dragged on about that, but I needed to kill a little time. So there we go. Hope that helps. It Must Be Me is here. Hi, Dave. Happy Friday. So, you know, if CompTIA A+ gives half points for questions, also, does anyone call you Davey? There was a guy who called me Davey once. His funeral was so shortly thereafter. No, nobody calls me Davey. Sorry. I think the last time anybody called me Davey, only people old enough, only people as old as me are going to get this reference. But there was, in my very young childhood, a television show that was a stop action show, Davy and Goliath. It was about it was a Christian show, a kid and his dog. His dog was Goliath, he was Davy, and it was always dealing with moral dilemmas and things like that. And the dog, it was a talking dog, good Christian show, called the kid Davy. And so that was popular among young children when they met people named Dave. But no, nobody calls me Dave. Okay, your other question. CompTIA has never communicated with anybody how they score exams. Now that has become a partially true statement. They don't tell how they score, but they do tell in some cases how they don't score. Their big thing is they never take away points according to them. So if you get a wrong question, you don't lose points. If you don't answer a question, you don't lose points. Whether or not you get partial credit, we've asked, and lots of people asked, and they never answer. So obviously you get no credit if you get a multiple choice question that has one answer and you select the wrong answer. Okay, you haven't lost anything. But sometimes they have what are called multi-select questions. Select 2 answers. Do they give partial credit if you get one of them right and one of them wrong? We don't know. So the answer is answer everything. You have nothing to lose by throwing out an answer. I've only got 5 minutes left and I skipped 22 questions. Go guess. You got a 1 in 4 chance of getting those right. So, you know, maybe you get 5 more questions right out of that. We don't know. Wish I did. But Davey, tell it. Yeah, you're my age. I knew you would get that. I'm not a sadist. I am not a sadist. This is what they want. This is what they need. They have to pass. These folks are standing up, giving evidence in federal trials. You're very welcome, Chris Kent. A man called Davey. That's right. I like that movie. What the heck was it? I can see all the actors in there, none of whose names will come to me right now. Piscopo was one. The guy who was in Mr. Mom and probably Batman, right? So the first Batman movie, not including the awesome one from the 60s that was campy. Nobody gives. Jimmy called me Freddie once. The Man Who Wore Plaid, something like that. I'm pretty close on that. Next week's drama, I should wear a coonskin cap like Davy Crockett. I don't have one, but I know where to get one. And by the way, I mentioned it last week. I'm not going to mention it again until you see it, but I won the auction for the cool prop for my set as soon as it arrives. I can't wait. Must be me liked it. Not Davy, because that's you, Tellowit. That's right, the other Davy. Ah, you gave away the name, man. Johnny. Johnny, what the heck? Johnny was the character name. I don't remember he was the good brother or the bad brother. Love the Irish mother in that. Oh, so good. All right, what else is going on here? It is quarter till. That sounds like a pretty good time to give something away. Hope you all got a chance to see Mike's show on Wednesday. It was a pretty good show considering the fact that Mike was done with, in his words, COVID. He looked like and sounded like a guy with a fresh flu. He was coughing and schnorfling, but he went down a road that he's got real mixed feelings about. We talked about a little bit after the show. He says, I almost went off on a rant. And he knows when he goes overboard on a ramp that I yell at him. But if he shows passion, you guys like it. I like it. He likes to do it. And the stress has been so high with the big unannounced thing. We don't know when we're going to announce now, but whenever it happens, there's always something new and stressful about it. And that gets his passion factor going. And all it takes is, one little thing to go wrong outside that process. And he's just ready to blow. And he was there on Wednesday, and you couple that with all of the flu-like symptoms that he was having. For me, it was a hilarious show. I was typing up a storm in the back channel. But all right, enough of that. Let's do a giveaway. He did 4 giveaways. And yeah, if he would give me warning, if he would at the beginning of the show say, I'm going to give away 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever, that makes my life so easy. But if he announces it, you know what? We're going to do 4. Let's start now. You can't imagine how I'm running here in the background, prepping paperwork and getting stuff ready to rock and roll. I finished late last night, because he didn't give complete instructions. And out of the 4 winners, 1 sent me the right information the first time. Everybody else, I had to send back messages. I need more info. But finally got the last one settled in last night. I am giving away 1 today. Sorry, because he gave away 4, said I can't give away multiples today. So as long as I'm mentioning that, I do got to mention one other thing. I said this at the beginning, but it's contest time now. So I'm going to remind everybody, I have 2 people who have not yet made claims, excuse me, for winning their Total Tester Onlines. One was from my show, one was from Mike's show a while back. So if either of you guys are listening or watching on the archive or whatever, I'll assume your guys back on May 2nd, Brennan, BRENNENN is the YouTube name. You have not contacted me to claim your Total Tester Online. If I don't hear from you today, I'm going to pull your name off the list and I'll put that in the pile to give away a double. And likewise, last Friday, Chris Doherty, Chris Doherty, however you pronounce it. I apologize for mispronouncing it on one of those 2. Contact me, send me the info, follow the info that we're going to post here for the winner of today's contest, and you'll know exactly what to send the first time, and the world will be a happy place. So Andrew, if you would prep the winner's instructions on how to claim, and you've got the question and answer in the back channel, you can help me find a good winner here. So we're going to do this the fairest way that I know how, and that's with a random number guess. I'm going to give you 3 guesses within a particular range that I will tell you in a moment. Closest to without going over wins. And we're going to give about a minute for people to post their responses. You can make 3 guesses and they have to be on separate entries. I want to see 1, 2, 3 on a single entry. 1 is an entry, 2 is an entry, 3 is an entry. And do not do more than 3. If I got too many people doing that and I'm working too hard to figure it out, if I see more than 3 guesses from somebody, all of their guesses are eliminated and you don't get to play today because you're making me work too hard. You can win before, if you've won a number of times before, more than 2, please add to your guess the word pass. If I get to give it to you, I still will, if nobody else is close enough or whatever. But, we tend to lean toward people who haven't won or who haven't won as frequently as you have, so we can sort of spread around the wealth. Make it rain, they say. I don't know what that means. All right. what's today's range we're going to do here? Today's range, you give me a guess, closest to without going over whatever my random number generator program selected, between the range of 1 and 1,000 inclusive. You get 3 guesses. You may begin posting now. Between 1 and 1,000, 3 guesses, closest to without going over, wins Total Tester Online today. I'm sliding down here. While you're posting answers, thank you, Andre de Goyard. I'm checking to see how any other Johnny Dangerously. Thank you, man. Who was the one who? Where was the man who wore plaid? It was in there too. But yes, outstandingly good movie. I'm 4 degrees from being a smoked brisket. Wonderful. We're doing brisket. No, I'm doing ribs this weekend. Doing ribs Sunday night. And burgers and dogs and chicken and kielbasa. We are just cooking it all. And I got lamb chops for one night this week. He did rant just a little. He didn't go overboard. He was happy. It must be me. Can I have his, Mr. Rush? Yeah, don't say things like guess 1, guess 2, guess 3. Give me a number in the word pass and you may still win. You've only won about 200 times. Super Mario came in. He has a question because not living in the USA, you told people from teaching how to swim, did like swimming or not, am swimming instructor and am interesting. I'm going to need that reworded a little bit. I can't tell if you want to learn to swim, if you want to instruct swimming, if you are a swimming instructor, please clean that up for me just a little bit. You know me, I love to talk about swimming. My kid was a competitive swimmer for many, many years. And I was an official for the USA Swim League. I don't do it anymore. I'm busy. All right, let's look at questions or look at answers here. Here's my winner so far. Somebody will get closer than that. Yep, somebody. Nope, that's not closer. Oh my gosh. That number is so close, but it's off by 1. It's over by 1. That's incredible. That's so close. If nobody else wins, I might give it to you. No, got to follow the rules. Wow. Oh, that's an interesting. I love that one. I love that one. 54. Missed the question. The question is, give me a random number between 1 and 1,000, closest to without going over wins. I don't have many guesses here. I have a wonderful winner so far out of the list. 20 more seconds. I'll take guesses on. Man, if nobody else gets the winner that I've got, wow, is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put that in my probable winner. Andrew, feel free, if you're still here, I'm supposed to have you for another 8 minutes or so. Throw up what you think up to this point so far. Still watching here. Ooh, I like that pie type answer. I learned a while ago that if the random number generator comes up with numbers like pi, then I reject them because people are smart and they like creative numbers and makes it too easy here. And why not hit that like button? Okay, let's close it off then with Andre's comment about spamming the like button. Appreciate that. We have a winner here. The random number, feel free to post this. And Drew, he's typing in the back channel. The random number that are, wow, that was really close, Jared. Good try after the contest was over, but you wouldn't have made it. The answer was 455. Chris Kent had 456. So nice guess. You know what? Somebody always, I didn't think about this when I looked at the random number generator generating the answer. People always put in 443. Now it must be, Andrew, I got a major difference from I see at 50 minutes past the hour, it must be B said, LOL, 443 HTTPS. I'm taking that 443. That's 2 away from 445. I don't think you can go wrong with that. So I am calling, it must be me, the winner with 443, 2 away from 445. Congratulations, it must be me. Andrew Hutz is going to post up what you need to do in order to claim your prize. I'm going to put up a similar slide and describe it verbally because that's what I do. I know I stretch that out a really long time. I do that on purpose sometimes because I need to make the show last. I'm not like Mike. I'm not happy about, yeah, let's finish early because he's always got something more important to do. I have important stuff to do, but I'd much rather do this. So it must be me. You're going to send an email to me, and in the body of the email, you're going to put 4 values in there. I need your YouTube name. Put in it must be me using the same case sensitivity and all that stuff that you use here. Give me your real name, your first name and your surname. Give me the email address that you want us to send your access information to, and the practice test material that you want, the name of the number of the practice test that you want to take using these practice materials. So if it's A+, tell me 220-1001 or 220-1002. By the way, you can specify either of those and you'll get them both. That's the only one we do that for. If you say Net Plus, that doesn't help me. I don't know if you want N10007 or N10008. So give me the CompTIA exam number, or if it's not a CompTIA exam, if it's an AWS exam, give me the AWS exam number, whatever the exam number is. Give me those 4 values in the email that you're going to send to me, Dave R at totalsem.com. And I will submit that today. You must get that to me by end of business today, please. Just go over to the totalsem.com website. You can see all the Total Tester online products that we have to offer. Then send me that email and I will be sending that in to the people in the Total Tester giveaway department, and they will take care of you. All right, that is everything that I need on there. I'm going to wind up doing one more slide, so let's come back and repeat that one later. Cool. All right, congratulations. So I'm going to read that question one more time about swimming and see if I can suss it out. And if not, again, Super Mario, please repost that and reword it a little bit for me. I'm working hard to understand it. I have a question. I'm not living in the US. Okay. I'm trying to translate the syntax. I assume you mean, can you tell me people from the US teaching how to swim? Did you like swimming or not? I certainly love swimming. Well, my whole family loves to swim. We are swimmers. I've been a swimmer since a small child. Here, I'll kill 2 minutes. When your kids are young, you want to get them involved in whatever sports, and there's a million to select from. And so the first one that somebody invited us to, before he could learn to swim, other than me dragging around the pool and getting ready to teach him the first freestyle, is swim team. Okay, so he'll go to kiddie swim team, and he swam for the first year and did as kids do. He kind of did moderately well, but there was another kid the following year. He was getting good, and there was a kid who came to our pool one time for a meet and kicked his butt and everybody else's butt in that age group. And he came back home that day disappointed because he was winning everything with everybody else and he was excelling. But this kid just assured me, he said, I want to learn to swim like that kid did. And so we did a looking around and said, oh, okay. So there's, there are summer leagues, which is what he was participating in. And then there's year-round leagues, they called them then. And this kid's a year-rounder. And so we went and checked out the year-rounders and joined him up, and he just excelled like nobody's business for years. And I believe he, at least in one event, made Olympic cutoffs, which that doesn't mean a lot. There are 250, 300 people who make Olympic cutoffs. And if you just make it, you're not going to be in that top 10, but impressive. He's an awesome swimmer, and he killed in state and he killed in locals and took away lots of good medals. And it was a ton of fun. All right. And for every country, Russia's having a little problem right now with all of their Olympic training programs, but and I saw that you spelled instructor with a K, so you may be in one of the Eastern European countries, but that doesn't stop them from training. So there are plenty of USA swimming and Canada swimming and Mexico swimming and England swimming and Russia swimming, whatever those international and national organizations are. Sign right up. All right. To the best of my ability, that's all I can answer that question. Reading other questions here. Andrew Hutz, it must be me, UK, sent instructions to you at 2:54, Rouge Cloud. You know, if you're going to call it Rouge, you got to call cloud in French. And I don't know what cloud in French is. I've fallen short. Okay, that catches me up on questions. Yeah, you can send Davey messages all you want. It ain't pinging on my machine. I turned those off for 3 hours, starting an hour before the show. Okay, save that. That's in good shape. I can shrink that. I don't need that anymore for today's production. I don't need this anymore for today's production. And that puts us on the hour. It's 3 o'clock my time. And that sounds like just the perfect time to start a project, because that is what I do. There we go. Let me get past all of this junk. Don't read the answer aloud. 4:55. Okay. So this week's project, we're going to read certain Linux logs, and we'll use Raspberry Pi as my demonstrator platform. I'm going to do it with 2 different versions of Linux running on 2 different Pis. One will use Raspberry Pi OS, of course. We do that for 90% of our projects. And I've got a Red Hat distro, Rocky Linux, running on another one. I show you one difference with that one, and that'll be an illustration of some of the other kinds of differences. We are going to use that tutorial that we posted earlier at the beginning of the show. Let me throw that up again on a slide. It's the last time I need my slides today. So the kind of tutorial that I borrowed my starting point from is over here at strongdm.com, whack blog, whack view SSH log separated by dashes. Andrew posted that earlier in the content. It's a starting place. I didn't use it all. I thought it was nice, and it's focused, right? It lives on, let's talk about viewing SSH logs in certain Linux distros. They didn't go above and beyond that. They didn't deal with some of the unusual distros. In fact, one of the things the article says is that it works on their tutorial works on Red Hat distros. Close. If you follow their instructions exactly and try to do exactly what they say on a Red Hat distro, some of it won't work, and I will explain why, and you'll be able to solve that problem. I did that part just for Will Shaw because I know he runs this ancient version of CentOS, but then he said he was going to do it on Kali Linux today, running on his Pi 400. So, okay, I didn't try it on a Kali. I've got one sitting on the side, but it's a Debian distro, so it should work just fine. The distro, the tutorial that we're using looks like they're trying to run it on a Debian distro, which is why it works so fine on Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, so that tutorial, tightly focused, limited, so I've added a lot more. So our motivation, reading and understanding logs is a critical skill for system administrators, students of Security Plus, to a lesser degree Net Plus, and to an even lesser degree A Plus. You got to be able to read logs in Sec Plus. Not the kind of log entries that I'm going to show you today, because these get translated into English, and you got to work a little more native in Sec Plus with output, but it's a good real world tool. I want you, I'm not going to do that there. I thought about this. I was going to include it in my notes and my text and your notes and text. And I thought, I'm just going to talk about it when I get there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to read logs on Linux distros that use a launcher subsystem called systemd, all one word. Now, what does that mean? A launcher is the internal program that's tied to the Linux core operating system, the kernel, and it's responsible for running other programs. It loads them into memory, it gets them started, it starts them automatically, It manages them while they're running. It shuts them down. It works with you when you make changes to configuration files and things like that. Systemd is a program launcher. It isn't the only program launcher in Linux. It is very common. It's very popular. There are people who don't like it for this reason or that reason, and some of them may or may not have merit. In the worlds that I live in, Systemd is absolutely wonderful. Now, why do we care about that? Because what you may not know is that there is a launcher in Windows as well. Why do we know about that? Why don't we care about it? Well, because unlike Linux, you don't have a choice. You don't know what it is because you've never cared. You can't make any changes to it. You can't pull it out and put another launcher in. You're going to live with what Windows does. But we don't have to use Systemd in Linux. We can use one of the other launching systems out there. But Linuxd is built into many distros. It works fine. So I'm sticking to that. I'm not going to do a class today on other launchers. I'm not even going to mention them. Just the world's a happy place with Systemd. Systemd runs in Debian distros. There's lots and lots and lots of them. Ubuntu, Raspberry Pi OS, Debian itself, many, many, many others. And it runs in Red Hat distros like Red Hat itself, CentOS, Alma Linux, Rocky Linux, Fedora. Forgot to add Fedora to my list. I think I will. It won't be in the one you download. I'm not going to update it, but you get the idea. But there are a couple minor differences in the way it works between Debian and Red Hat. We'll call that RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux Systems. I'll show you that shortly. So what do I need for equipment? I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Any system running a Linux distro. Now, I'm not sure if Arch runs Systemd. So if you run an Arch, try it. You might need to either add Systemd or you'll need a different technique than what we're going to do today. So if you got a running version of Linux on some computer somewhere, you can probably do what we're doing today, and it's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm not going to read that. So I'm using Raspberry Pis. I'm going to use Raspberry Pi OS on one. I'm going to use Rocky Linux on another. You can do this remotely with SSH, or you can connect to it with VNC and open up a terminal session, or you could do this on a direct connected keyboard, mouse, and monitor. I'm going to recommend, if you don't already have it running, that you do install an SSH server, and that's done differently on Red Hat machines and Debian machines. It's already built into Raspberry Pi OS, and you probably enabled it during the initial install. But if you haven't enabled it, let me show you how to do that ever so quickly. You could do this from standard mouse and keyboard, or if you've enabled VNC, you could do it that way as well. I'm going to do it over VNC because it looks and acts exactly the same as if you did it with VNC or if you did it with a direct connect mouse and keyboard. So let me get VNC up and cooking here. VNC. You should know how to do this, but not everybody does this every day all the time with me. Drama. Let's make sure that's the right one that I want to use. Yes. Raspberry is the password, RASPBERRY. Now we share the screen. Okay, so if you don't have SSH enabled on Raspberry Pi, the easiest way to do it is via the GUI. You click on the Raspberry Pi app icon, go to Preferences. It's running a little slow today. I should have rebooted this morning. Go to Raspberry Pi Configuration. And over here, you go to Interfaces on the crosstabs, and then SSH will show up as disabled. And it'll be blue, and it'll be a pale gray and pointed to the left like SPI is right now. You just click it. You okay it. And this one, when you turn on SSH and or VNC, it doesn't require a reboot. Some of these things do. So you'd okay the changes, and poof, you are now able to do SSH. I want to show you the other way, again, from a direct connected mouse and keyboard. If you're not already up and running SSH, open up your terminal session, sudo raspi-config. We'll go down to interface options. I use my arrow keys to get down there. I'm going to enter on interface options. Go to SSH with the arrow key, enter on it. And it's currently enabled, but this thing doesn't want me to know that. It's a security thing. So it's, hey, you sure you want to do this? Yes, I'm sure I want to do this. Yes. Buzz, buzz, grind, grind, grind. It's enabled. Okay. Didn't tell me that it freshly enabled it. Now I'm going to use my left and right arrow keys to get over to finish. You can also use tab. And if a reboot was required, it would tell me now. It doesn't for two reasons. One, you don't have to when you enable SSH, and two, because SSH was already enabled. I'll leave this up and running and do the whole demo on here. Sure. Why? No, there is a why not. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it with SSH with you. What I want you to do next, after you've installed and enabled SSH on your system, is to do 3 SSH connections to it. I want you to do one where you use the wrong login account name. Okay, instead of the default Pi as the account name, make it Pi with an E, or make it Fred, or make it any other name that makes you happy. It will still prompt you for a password. Put in whatever password you want. It's not going to work. And it's going to tell you login failed. Won't tell you why. Won't tell you that you have the wrong user account name or that you have the wrong password, because then it would be giving away information about what you got right, and you'd know more about the system that you would. So I want you to do a failed login with a wrong account name. After the failure, try to log in again. Use the correct, a valid account name and a wrong password. And then do it one more time with a successful login, a correct account name and a correct password. And that way, when we look at the logs, you'll be able to see all the different aspects of it that get logged, because that kind of stuff will get logged. Wrong account name, wrong password, successful login, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of a cool thing. All right, I'm going to fire up Putty here and share that with you. 192.168.1.140. Log in. I'm going to do a successful login. Pi. Password Raspberry. I know you can't see it. RASPBERRY. And Zen, I will share with you because I like you. And we're sharing. Okay, did all that, did it by the GUI from another host, connect, do your 3 failed logins. I did a demo connection here. Okay, so in systems that use a systemd launcher, there is another program called journald, JOURNALD. It's a daemon. And the job of the journald daemon is to track what are called units. Units are system programs. Some system programs are built in and part of the core operating system. Some, like SSH servers, are not, but you add them in and they become part of the core. So every time something happens to any of those systemd managed units, journald makes log entries about them. And doing what I'm going to do here. Okay, I'm getting that to work. The utility to read a log is called journalctl. Systemd uses a program called systemctl to manage programs, or for you to interface to the systemd world and do things with systemd. Journalctl allows us to access the journald daemon and the logs. So let me show you one just right off the bat here with nothing special going on. I'm going to say journald. Sorry, hang on. Ugh, hate when I do that. Control F, journald. got to arrange my screen so I don't keep overlapping them and typing in the wrong one. Sorry about that. All right, that's pretty good. I can live with that. All right, so I'm going to run the command journalctl with no switches, journalctl, all one word, all lowercase. Remember, case matters in Linux. And what it's doing is it's going to read a whole bunch of logs in order. The first log that it reads is the boot log. And it goes back in time. In this case, it went back to October 30th. Now, that's not the first time I booted up this distro on this machine. When logs get to be a certain size, they get archived and a new log gets created. So this is the most current one that hasn't been archived. I'll show you those logs in a moment. So starting on October 30th, boot up started to happen on the CPU using Core 0. And you could read through all this if it makes you happy. It's running through a program, it's running the output through a program called less. Less is a program that allows me to arrow up and down, page up and down, and so forth. After we get done with the boot log, it goes through another log and another log. There's the kernel, there's a system log, there's the system D log. This shows all the things that system D does during boot up. I'm not going to read all that to you, but I just want you to know that you can see every log that's tracked by journal D just by running journalctl without any switches. Use Q or Control C to get out of the less program. Okay, back to my notes for a momento. Okay, journal D with no switches. That reads all logs, starting with the most current. Ran it through less. If you watch your Linux computer boot up, Raspberry Pi OS, anything else, you will see a screen full of stuff that happens. And wouldn't it be cool if you got a chance to read that? Sometimes you'll see something that failed. That doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Sometimes things need to fail simply because you haven't installed that particular feature and you don't intend to. That's okay. So I go back and run this journal D again. We'll do a quick page down and find a failure here. You can see some things are highlighted in bold text. Failures, error conditions, and things like that do get that kind of highlighting. You see some yellow stuff here. It's important stuff. Here's a warning. The FIQ DMA bounced. I don't know what that means, but this system up and runs just fine. There's more similar warnings. All right, you get the idea. Q to quit. Clear the screen. Notice that I didn't use sudo to run that. I'm logged in as an account that can have sudo powers, but it's interesting. There are 3 ways to run this. I can run this as a user that has no administrative powers. I can run it as a supervisor as I am, or I can even get more results by running sudo. And while you're not going to be able to see it here, if I run this with sudo journalctl, it reads more logs than it does just by running sudo ctl. Let me run down to the end of this file. It's going to take it for a moment to read down there, but I sent it to the last line of it. If I remember, there's about 3,700 lines in this file. I made some notes about it when I did this the other day. Current system log has a little over 100,000 lines. That was close. I didn't hit. There it is. 100,000 lines. There's 100,000 plus lines in this file. And I remember jumping down to it with Control End or Shift End or something like that. Oh, that's why, because Windows has taken over my Control key. Stop it, you silly goober. Let me try this one more time. See if it goes down there while I'm reading here. Did I lose that? Yeah, I lost the share on that. Sorry about that. All right, we're sharing again. I'm not going to get it. Oh, well, you get the idea. Now, where is it reading these logs from? I'm going to show you that. I'm using my supervisory powers here. I'm going to cd whack var whack logs log. And here's many of the system logs. You see these GZ files? These are sys logs that have been archived and they've been zipped files. Some logs that haven't been zipped yet, they got to get so many of them before they zip them up. They just get numbers. So we were looking at boot log. Notice in here that there is a folder called journal log. These are native logs. We go look at them with a text editor, they're going to have cryptic entries. So when journal D does its thing, he creates his own English readable logs in this folder, this long cryptically named folder that starts 1988. Do this. So to get into that, I'll use our favorite technique. I couldn't type all that in. I could eventually, but how about I just start by typing 19 and then hit the tab key. And it says, okay, I've looked around in here. The only thing that starts with 19 is that. So I'll type it in for you. That's a really useful, it happens in Windows command line as well. All right, so useful technique. LS, here's the logs that it's creating in English for us. Take myself back to the home directory. All right, so what have we actually done so far? We've run journal D one time. Is it achieved in my document? You're going to find a typo in your document that says archived instead of archived. That's what I get for not editing. Stop it. Control S. There we go. Okay, so log files are kept in var log. Now, not every log file of every program is kept in var log. Some applications say, I don't want my logs kept there, and they keep their logs in their own favorite places. And journal D, journal daemon, doesn't track every single log, but it will track logs of anything that you put in that's managed by system D. So if you want to install Apache or Nginx in here, that's system D controlled, and journal D will track its logs. Okay, did that. We ran journal CTL without the flags. That was fine. Now, if I run journal CTL with no flags, I see an entire log. I want to do two things to make my life a lot easier. First of all, I'm going to want to see specific logs, right? I don't want to see 100,000 lines of logs, everything from the boot log, everything from the system log, everything from the SSH log. So first of all, I'm going to run this so I just see the last few lines of something. So how about journal D? How about journal CTL, journal control, minus N for number of lines, 25. Show me the last 25 lines of whatever your normal output is with whatever other flags you've used. And so here's 23 of the last 25. 26, because it's line 1 through 26 as opposed to 0 through 25. And so I thought I saw something interesting here. Now's the beginning here. So PAM, so program access module, says, hey, the last thing I did here that I'm bothering to track was an open session for SSH. Can I make that bigger? Yeah, but it'll cause me problems. Okay, so that's the last log that it looked at of the 100,000 lines worth of logs, the last 26 lines. That's useful. Now, how about I just want to see the last 25 lines of the boot log? Well, boot log is special, and I don't have to specify its log name using a technique that I'm going to show you a little later. I can simply say -B, and that means, hey, show me the contents of the boot log, last 25 lines. And that's what we were looking at there. And that is a default when you do line numbers. But I'm going to show you how to see other logs in a second. Q. Okay, current history with the -B. We can also get a summary of all the boots. Oh, this is a kind of cool thing. Since by default he shows the boot log, we can add another neat switch to it. Do I want to see the line? No, I'll do all lines here. So he defaults to the boot log. So I'm going to say -- list boots. And let me confirm that that's plural or not. Yeah. And this is cool. All it's going to do is it's going to read the entire boot log, and it's going to show me every boot that's happened to this machine that's been logged. There have been 31 boot ups, and each boot up gets this long, wacky, cryptic session number. Those have value in some troubleshooting. So I got boot number 30, which was the oldest one in this boot log. Happened on October 30th of 2021. I got the time in local time and how long it took to boot up. So it went from 6:36 and 50 seconds to 6:37 and some odd seconds. A useful thing. Okay, that's the list, the whack or -- list boots option. Now I want to see a specific log. I don't want to see the boot log anymore. It's too long and too complicated. I want to see the SSH log. So I'll clear the screen here. SSH is a managed unit in a systemd system, and it has a specific name. In a Debian distro, the name is SSH. In a Red Hat distro, it's SSHD. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say journal CTL -U for unit. I want to see a specific unit's logs, and then the name of the unit. I'm going to show you that in a second on how you can figure out the name, because they're sometimes very long and very cryptic. Not SHH, silly man. SSH. There we go. So all I'm looking at now is the current SSH log. Goes back to, hey, there was one on October 30th, and then I didn't do SSH again until January 11th of that year. We scroll down. Okay, I got 274 lines in this one, including these two today. Now I want to go back and look at a failure. I think it was a failure on April 19th. April 19th. That was a success. There's an entry at time mark 0014. Okay, right here, accepted password for Pi. Was this a success? Yeah, okay, this was a success. So it accepted a password using the account Pi. It came from a particular host. I know what computer was used to log in as Pi of somebody who used the correct password. That fired up the SSHD process, and we established an intact, a successful SSH connection. Cool. If you did something like SCP, secure copy, which uses SSH, it would have the same information here. It would still say port 22, might have a different ephemeral port, There's an ephemeral port listing way over here. It doesn't line wrap. Same thing for FTPS. Any service that you use that uses SSH gets the same kind of SSH entries in the log. So I don't know if this person came in and was doing a secure shell terminal session or FTPS or SCP or something else. Might have been an SSH tunnel for all I know. But I know what account was used. I know that the successful password was used. I know the IP address of the system that used it. I know their ephemeral address. So I know a lot to get troubleshooting going. All right, now let's take a look at May 6th at time 9:08. May 6th, server was listening. Okay, this was one where SSH booted up, but didn't do anything. I said, okay, I'm doing my thing here. Where'd you go? I made these notes a couple days ago. I haven't double checked and accepted the password. There was a failure around here somewhere. Oh, here's the authentication failure. May 6th, there we go. At time 9:08, somebody tried to log in, and you can't see over on my screen here because of the stretch out, but the login name was wrong. It didn't register. In fact, it would, if I put in PIE, P-I-E, it would say log name is PIE. So the fact that there's nothing here tells me I hit enter and just left a blank on the login name. Oh, sorry. Nope. I used the right name here. It was a login failure. Tried to use the account PIE, but failed password. So I was reading the wrong one here. So again, useful information. Somebody tried to log in as PIE from this machine, got the wrong password. So I can now go look who was in the building at 9:08 on May 6th and who was sitting at the computer with the IP address 1.150. Maybe it was just an honest mistake. Maybe it was somebody who was doing something they shouldn't do. All right, so how do I know the name of a log that I'm supposed to look up? Well, for that, we're going to need our friend system control or syscontrol, system CTL. I'm almost done. I know we're half an hour into it. We're getting near the end. Oh, I did want to show you one thing here. Let me break out of this connection. No, I'll show you this first. This will make more sense. So let me remind you what we just did. To see a particular unit's logs, you got to know the name of the unit. You type journal CTL -U and then the name of the unit in question. Let's go crazy. I just want to see the last 25 lines. -N25. It should be 30, but okay. I'm going to show you another unit. Follow my notes the way I did here. I want to see what's going on with the VNC server. I just used it a little bit ago. So how about journal CTL -U. Now this name's a little more sophisticated, and that's why I'm going to show you next how to find out the names of the units. It's VNC server -X11 service D. There's the log showing the beginning. Not too many down here. Oh, there we go. 862 lines. So here's what I did with it today. I connected from the IP address of this machine, 173, using ephemeral port 14286. The session started to use the account PIE. I was authenticated, so I used a valid password, and I disconnected and logged out using the PIE account. Cool. It's useful. It's a system D managed process. Oh, and there was some failed ones up there earlier. I'm not going to go through that. One more. Looking at my notes where I showed you how to get the names. System CTL. Okay, we list the names. There it is with systemctl. Yeah, where are you? Where are you? Sorry, checking notes. I don't want to do this off the top of my head and make one of those mistakes that I do sometimes when I forget something simple. View the SSH log. Where are you? Units. Let's just do a search on units. There we go. Okay. So to see the units that are running and that are loggable, you can also see non-running units, but I just wanted to give you the whole ball of wax. We're going to say systemctl list units. If I just hit the enter key on that, I get a list of every unit that exists in this computer, running or not. And what I want you to notice is that they all have these names, and you're looking for names that end in .service. Those are the ones that have logs. So here's some, also restore.service. So if I was going to check the unit log on this, I would say journalctl -u alsa-restore. Leave off the last .service. So as I roll down through here a little bit more, we should see there's ssh.service. If you do this in a Red Hat distro, it'll say sshd.service. All right, let me add a little bit to that. How about same command? I want to see just the ones that are services. I don't want to see those .devices. And so I can add -- type equals service. And now there's all my services that exist in this system, 64 of them. And I can even add one more feature to it, whether or not they're running services. This we use for troubleshooting to say, I can't get in with SSH. I'm doing everything right, but it says, can't think of the right error message, object rejected or something like that. But if we say state equals running, we can check and make sure the SSH server is in fact running. So everything that's running is in this list. There's SSH service. Cool. So here's how I got that long cryptic name for checking what was going on my VNC server. Leave off the .service and do journalctl VNC server -x11 -service D. So we can look up the log for trigger happy service for the various system D services. What's going on with DHCPD, CPCD? You get the idea. All right, see if I missed anything here in these notes that I want to. No, did that. Did that. Not going to bother to do that. All right, tons of services. Now, when I do these entries, it shows me from the beginning of the log to the end of the log. What if I want to show a particular date or a particular date range? So I can do that. There's a couple more flags. So let's go back to our SSH log. And there's some really cool language in here, like since equals yesterday. Until equals now. So, okay, yeah, let's do it. I think I might need quotes on those. journalctl. I know when I do these typos, you're watching and you're screaming at your screen, you forgot CTL. Okay, so since yesterday and through today, there have only been a couple of lines, the journal begins line, and then the two activities. Cool. You can get specific on dates and even times. How about instead of since yesterday, since and then put a date in there, 2022, January 12th. I know I did some stuff on October 30th. I know I did some stuff on January 11th. So I don't want to see that stuff. I'm happy with it, but I do want to see everything from the 12th until now. So the next thing that happened after that wasn't on the 12th or the 13th or even the 14th. It was on the 15th. And one more, instead of until now, how about I'm searching a particular date range, right? So until, I don't know, May 7th, 2022, May 07, in quotes. Hey, you want to go nuts? Show the time instead of in local time in UTC. Okay, so again, from January 15th is a reasonable thing. Yep. Blew something somewhere because it should have stopped at May 7th. But you get the idea. Cute. All right, is that everything I want you to do? Oh no. Oh man, this one's fun. I tried to figure out when I wrote this, how I wanted to describe it. And I didn't come up with a way that made me happy. There are tools that exist that allow you to watch something in real time, like somebody logging in on an SSH connection. This won't do that. However, when you log in with SSH, when you do something with anything in here, it gets logged instantaneously, and we can real time watch log entries. And the way we do that is with the -F command. Let me show you this. This is cool. I'm going to do this. Journal CTL -F unit SSH. So what we're going to do is watch the SSH log in real time right now. Okay, it's up, it's running, nothing's happening to it. So I'm going to go establish another SSH connection and watch me log in. SSH, this is that machine, pi at 192.168.1.140. We've given the account name of pi, prompted me for a password, raspberry, SPBERRY, enter. I failed. Why? How did I do that? Oops. RASPBERRY. There we go. I missed the enter key. So you saw it as I logged in real time, the log got updated. So there's the server name. There's the SSHD server that happened. It's the second SSH session that's going on at the same time. Let's watch me log out. Exit. Session open. It's not showing me the exit in time, but most logs can be viewed in real time using the -F. Control C to get out of this one. I want to show you one or two more quickie things with journal control, and then we're done with this presentation today. There are some special things that journal CTL can show you. For instance, disk usage. Normally, if I want to look at my disk usage, I'm going to do df-h. Gives me a nice little summary there. But how about doing the same thing with journal CTL -- disk usage? Archive actions, and all I get is a single summary that tells me not disk usage overall, but how much disk space is being taken up by journal D logs. So I got 360.1 megs worth of logs in here. That's kind of cool. What else? Oh, and the last thing to close this thing out, journal CTL is a powerful, flexible command. And if you want to find out lots more information about it, -- help. I even used that today to get some cool stuff. All right, kill that share. Stop share. So that's how to view logs that are tracked and managed by Journal D in Linux hosts that use systemd. Let me establish one more session. I got a little bit of time here. It's only quarter till. This will take me 1 minute. Let me exit out of this putty session. I'm going to fire up another putty session and show you a difference in a Red Hat distro. 192.168.1.101. You want to do this? Yes. Log in as Rocky, CKY, password ROCKYLINUX. Okay, I'm in. Let me share that. All right, so I want to do two things in here. Sorry, checking my notes. That's the supplicant. All right, so let's go over and do systemctl. Type service. Oh, do you want to do units? Probably. List units first. And this one doesn't have a dash. List units. Type is service. And we'll just look at the running services again. State equals running. So here's the list of the services. The output here is a little bit different, but not much. Close enough to figure out. And look over here. Instead of seeing ssh.service, we see sshd.service. So if I try to look at that log using the same technique that I used in a, or not the same technique, the same text that I used in a Debian distro, journal ctl minus unit ssh, okay, no log. So do it again and make sure you use the right name, sshd. And there we go. It looks a little different. Notice that we don't get these date breaks in the Red Hat like we do in Debian. So it just goes from the 22nd to the 22nd or to the 20th or whatever the case may be. And I just booted this thing up this morning. Last time I had it was up and running was June 22nd. At least that's the last time that I made an SSH connection to it. So a little bit different, but the systemctl list units commands works the same. So you can find out your units and check out their logs. Do it one more time and see if there's a log worth looking at in here. There's nothing that I've done over here with cron. Tuned user 1000 service. How about the WPA supplicant? I like that one. Journal CTL minus U WPA underscore supplicant. Leave off the dot service. And there we go. WPA supplicant is the thing that we use to get DHCP over Wi-Fi. I'm using a wired connection now, so I didn't get it over Wi-Fi today. All right, that is reading logs in Linux, certain logs for Linux distros that use systemd, and a lot of them, most of them do. So let's go back and check and see what happened on questions. Then we'll get ready to shut this thing down with 12 minutes to go. Let me set my page up here to the right place because it'll be cool. And so that's a good place to leave it. Questions. All right, I left off with Andrew's final post at 2:54 my time. Yeah, there's a lot here. Brisket's out of the smoker, now at rest. We rest ours for 3 hours in butcher paper, maybe it's 2 hours, in a cooler. All that, my sound went super low at 35, huh? I probably lean back. I really need this thing to show me audio output. Anyone else losing volume? Thought it was my laptop. Sorry about that. Okay, I was back. Weird. I didn't do anything. Well, thank you, Will Shaw. Who's pinging Dave? Tell it. It's not me. You can't hear it on my machine. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to wind things up then. It was a good show, I think. It showed you what I wanted to show you. Next week, Mike is planning everything normal. He should be in even better health than he was on the Wednesday show. Who couldn't be? That was something. No special feature plan for his Monday show. I haven't heard anything on Wednesday. Keep in mind, July 11th, he's got Elaine Batzer. Keep in mind on me, July 29th, we've got our second anniversary show. Haven't picked a show for next week. I'll do that tonight or in the next day or two. As ever and always, my eternal gratitude to Mike Myers, Andrew Hudson, everybody at Total Seminar who so generously provides time and resources so we can get together and do these things. Really love doing this, excuse me. My most heartfelt thank, as ever and always, goes to every one of you who comes here to participate. Without you, there is no show. So I am Dave Rush, Senior Instructor, Total Seminars, Resident Pi Specialist. As ever and always, wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call or visit your parents if that's at all possible. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resources we have are you and I. And so good night. I will see you on Discord in a couple of minutes. Give me 5 minutes or so. And at the AMAs next week. Until then, I am out of here. This presentation was recorded before a live audience and no animals were hurt during the production of this program. Brennan, Chris Doherty, contact me about your winnings. Thank you very much. I'm out.